Should be live. It says live as well. How about now? Can you see me or?
Something seems to be... Yeah, it seems to be going again.
Okay.
With 13 people watching? 8 people watching. Why did I say 13?
13, 8. Well, they can see.
I think Icaru's... Okay, we think Icaru's internet had a blip there that caused everything to disconnect, OBS and whatnot, so things had to be restarted.
Yeah, but it seems like Twitch still counts it as a single stream, so that's good. Because I don't need to, like, export two things. I assume we're exporting this so that the author can see our comments at their leisure.
I imagine that'll be appreciated.
Right now is Lucas speaking. Can you see Lucas speaking? I think there might be
the crying.
The crying Lucas.
I do.
Okay. I'm just gonna close this so I can go down. Close. Open. Come on. My phone's not. I can at least see what chat or whatever. I mean, an easy way to say, an easy way to show her is just like, hey, Aura, can you come out and show Sarah that I'm me? Also, Six, I do agree with you that I'd like to see more TF fiction talk about how being suddenly transformed, even if you like it, would probably be disoriented at best and distressing at worst.
Even slow transformations, you could probably say that. So long as it's like distinct enough to have those stuff. Like I know in like the TF sort of like reactions and stuff for like the booba changing and all that sort of stuff. I've always written in like, this will probably change your center of gravity, so you're gonna have to get used to walking again. If it was super gradual, there would be probably none of that. But if it's in stages or steps, even, you'd probably have something similar, even if to a lesser scale, for all those stages too. Mentally, probably less so by the end once you're more used to it.
She was going to rest for another 2 years.
Emailized.
Is it wrong?
Oh, it would be like feminized, right? I don't think femaleized is. That's just more like a quirky, not a real word. Not a real word way to say it.
Feminine.
Feminized.
Femininized.
Femininized.
Gives a different impression, I say. I guess for the word.
Oh yeah, it's much more of like a quirky, I'm making this up on the spot sort of thing.
I mean, they never said it was a slow change, so... And I don't think they have anything between. Well, not anything masculine.
I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but usually I enjoy the slow change stories more.
I guess it gives for if it's a quick change, it's the better. Like it gives more horror-y for the quick change distrust that you have not seen much. They need meaning. Quick can just be as good as slow, but it should be meaningful.
You know, if I got attacked by a group like that and just hung around the town to graduate and go to college for the next year and a half, I think I'd be a little scared. like what the fuck was going on with those guys?
When you have done something or whatever, it's like, okay. At least tell me what they are. It's like, oh, the only thing that knows when to sleep. Oh, well, shit. Well, I guess I'm gonna do nothing for the rest year and a half.
It's like one of those things that leads to the friend group breaks up trope, because everything's awkward because it's always about that topic every time it comes up again.
Maybe. Oh, and we're going there again. We're going back there again. It's definitely been more than a few months. Definitely been like a year and a half by what you're saying.
I'd say that's probably around right, because it'd probably be half a year for the next school year to start, and then another year for a gap year in there.
Yeah, you can save. Should we leave it there? Hello, hello?
I guess, do you want to, just because of time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can
fine.
save it for
I
later.
think it's... Yep. And we'll try to plan something, either we'll try to figure out how much is left, or we'll just plan something else to do next time as well after it.
Yep.
There's a new update to Maid Quest if you want to play that, or I've never played the first update of it, so I could play through that too.
Of this one, of Thread?
Of Maid Quest.
Oh, I played the first part.
You're right, but I haven't, so I could play through that, and then we could go into the next one if we wanted to. That would probably take a while to get through, at the very least.
Yeah, I think it took me like a session or two.
Yeah, that would probably be like going through Sword and Soul, I think. If not longer, because it's on its second update.
Or third. Or fourth. But yeah.
Right, well, seems like a good place to end it.
Any closing thoughts? Or too early to tell?
Overall, similar-ish style to how I write. I can feel it. It has a very chill feeling to it most of the time. I'm curious where it's actually going to go still overall, but it has set up a good tension to like an external threat, even if mysterious, that we're sort of going after. It's a very chill, slow pacing, though. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. It's just something to be very aware of. Maid Quest isn't as long as Sword and Soul. Good to be aware of. Thank you. Overall, gameplay-wise, I'll let Icarue talk on that, but it was just like the introductory battle. I think the main thing gameplay-wise is that we're as far into it as we are, and not much has happened, which is fine into itself, depending how long the game is going to be overall. But if you want it to be substantial, I've talked about in the Sword and Soul playthrough as well, but there's like two ways you can think of pacing. From like sort of a macro and a micro scale, where the micro scale is sort of like in the scene, how are you pacing it? I say for this, it's a very slow, sort of slow burn feel, very chill most of the time, has some tension here and there, but it's not really having many dramatic turns to up the pacing. I do think you do a good job of structuring the scenes, so even though it is chill much of the time, at a micro level, it doesn't really feel like it drags very often. I think that's pretty good. Even when you're doing like the explanatory stuff in like the classroom when you're talking about, I did feel as though it had a good sort of back and forth between people talking about, or how you introduce information, that sort of stuff. It had a good sort of like flow to like going back and forth. Another thing I talked about is when you think about pacing, you can think of it in terms of velocity and acceleration. People feel acceleration, not velocity. So if you want something to not feel like it's dragging, you want to change things up pretty regularly. And one of the ways you can do that, and one of the ways you do it, and one of the ways I purposely do it in like between, is you jump through different ways of presenting the story. Narration, dialogue, people moving around, all that sort of stuff. I feel like it's in a pretty good place for that. On a macro level, might be a little bit more question pacing-wise. That's when you start to think about like the overall goal. When are you introducing like what is the point of what we're doing? Where are you placing gameplay? How are you structuring like pieces of the story up against each other? Are you jumping from like a scene to gameplay to dungeoneering and stuff like that? That same sort of idea of jumping between different things because people feel acceleration, not that. On a macro level, I would think that's, if there's anything questionable about the pacing, I would say maybe there's some stuff to improve there. I don't think it was that bad though, but I do think it's definitely more improvable. Without the gameplay, I don't want to put like a score on this at the moment, but I think it's been pretty good so far. Very much the sort of thing that I would continue to end of content very easily and look forward to the next release. Assuming nothing changes dramatically from how it's been so far.
So gameplay-wise, part of me wonders if giving control to the player more often would be better or worse. Like, be like, oh, move your character here and move your character there, so at least you are doing something instead of just clicking to the next thing. And then combat-wise, there wasn't a lot of combat, but the only thing I would imagine changing would be how much attack costs. Like, each attack only costs like 4 magic power and you have 600. So that's like 100, 200 attack. Which for a skirmish, like a normal map, you wouldn't normally have 100. you wouldn't normally do 100 attacks. Like in Oathbreaker, each unit does like maximum like 30 or 40 attacks. Oh well, that doesn't sound that much. So it's 5 versus 600. So that's like 100-ish. And if you have methods of earning mana, then I think it would balance out. Basically what I'm saying is maybe you have way too much mana for it to be a worrisome resource. Like a resource you have to worry about. That's essentially my two things. Any thoughts on what I said?
So basically, you're saying that you thought that the resource management was overkill in terms of giving the player, like, an actual strategic choice. You weren't actually fighting against that? Correct. Or am I misinterpreting? Okay.
Yeah, they gave you too much mana to worry about it.
Yeah. In gameplay design, resource management is one of the things that makes the gameplay more immersive or engaging via thinking about how the status quo changes from turn to turn, element to element. If you're working with resource management, then that's something that you consider. And talking about the velocity versus acceleration thing again, you feel changes. You don't feel doing the same thing over and over again. If you don't have to worry about MP, it's going to feel like 100 miles per hour versus 99 miles per hour instead of like a 70 versus 100 sort of variety, right?
Unless there are attacks that like cost like 100 MP or something like that, but yeah. Hard to judge with just one battle and just one attack.
Hopefully we get a better look at it next time.
Yep. Other than that, do you have any closing things to say? Any projects you have released?
I wish. No, I think I'm good for this time. Hopefully next time I'll have something to announce, talk about, that sort of thing. I think I'm getting close-ish on a few things.
I think the only thing for me is that Ruin in his server released the second chapter for the Konosuba story, which is, I don't think it's public, but if you like Konosuba and my way of comedy thing, it's there, it exists. That's it for me. So yeah. So next stream go ahead.
Make sure you post a link to that so we can, put it on the list.
Sure. I just remind Ruin like 2 days ago and he just finished it yesterday.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Oh, see you in 2 weeks, right? Because your schedule resets.
It will be 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, this next week is the last full week I have for the year. I've taken vacation, so I'll have the last 3 Fridays off.
Nice. I'm having the last 2 or 3, I forgot. But yeah, I also took that. My reasoning for taking those days off is, do you know what the shortest day of the year is? December 21st.
Okay.
That's the winter solstice.
Sunlight, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't want to work on that.
A lot of nighttime out of that?
Yep. It's gonna...
Nice. Okay.
So, it's... The dawn's gonna be at like 9 a.m. And then the sunset is gonna be like 3:34. I'm giving you my latitude and my longitude already. Like, the longitude I give you by my schedule, and then the latitude I give you by the hour.
I think I know enough about where you live that I don't need to... I don't think I could get more specific off of that at the very
Okay,
least.
Royal U. everyone watching, I'm giving you my
Fair
coordinates.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
If you send a nuke to my location, it won't be pretty for me.
Depends how tactical the nuke is.
True.
Okay, that's probably a good place to end it then.
Yeah.
See you all next time.
See you all next
Drive
time.
safely, everyone.
Bye bye.